皆様、本日はお忙しい中、高齢化マーケティング主催ウェビナー、クローズアップインサイト、ベトナムのケーススタディに学ぶ市場の可能性、リテールトレンドと参入戦略にご参加いただきまして、誠にありがとうございます。本日司会進行及び前半のパートを務めさせていただきます、合理化マーケティング株式会社の羽田と申します。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。本日は、私、羽田と、今、画面の方に映っております、ビビアンさんを、お迎えをして、ご紹介をさせていただきたいというふうに、思っております。それでは、発表の方を始めさせていただきます。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。スライド共有させていただきます。はい。それでは、発表させていただきます。まずは私の簡単な、本日モデレーターを務めます、羽田と申します。自己紹介させていただきます。私自身は、大手のシステムインテグレーターにですね、新卒で入社しまして、5年ほど法人営業に従事をしました。その後、専門商社への転職を経て独立をさせていただきました。で、合理化マーケティングに参画させていただいたのは、今から約6年ほど前になります、コロナの前年ですね。2019年、合理化マーケティングに参画をしまして、こちら Go インサイト Go アナリティクスと書いておりますが、データ分析系のサービスのご提供に従事をさせていただいております。で、主にですね、食品ですとか消費財のメーカー様のマーケ様をですね、ご担当させていただきまして、消費財流通メーカーさん、流通企業を含めて、させていただいた企業様といったところは200社を超えているような形でございます。で、下の方は代表実績になっております。例えば、アイスクリームメーカーさんの店頭マーケティングの伴走ですとか、テストマーケティングの伴走ですとか、飲料メーカーさんの新商品をローンチするときの、伴走だったり、リブランディングのところのお話ですとか、で総合食品メーカーさんの店頭調査ですとか、販促の企画みたいなところに携わらせていただいている、そんな人間でございます。で、合理化マーケティングという会社でございますが、人に寄り添う合理化で世界をもっと自由に、もっと豊かにということをパーパスとして掲げております。本日は、ベトナム市場への参入をテーマに、私、羽田が、日系企業の海外進出の、近況と、ベトナムという国の外観ですね、を、ご紹介をさせていただきます。後半部分では、オーストラリア在住のAPAC マーケティングアクティベーションコンサルタントのビビアンさんから、ベトナムの小売業に関する知見を、進出メーカーさんの事例を交えながらご紹介をさせていただこうというふうに思っております。で、ビビアンさんのプレゼンテーションはですね、英語で行わさせていただきます。こちら下にもございますけれども、必要な方はですね、Zoom の、字幕機能といったものがございますので、字幕言語を日本語に設定していただくと、同時通訳までいかないですけども、ちょっとビハインドになりますが、字幕機能といったところも活用できますので、ご活用くださいませ。また、順番前後して恐縮でございますが、ご質問のある方は、Zoom の QA 機能ですね、こちらのぜひご利用いただければと思います。最後にですね、まとめてご回答させていただきたいというふうに思っています。それでは、始めさせていただきます。まず、ベトナム市場の、外観というところから、お話し進めさせていただきます。そこに入る前にというところでですね、海外進出の背景と傾向といったところからお話をさせていただきます。コロナが終了しまして、昨今の為替影響もございまして、新たな市場獲得を目指して、海外進出に出ていかれる企業さんが増えているといったところが見て取れます。で本日ご視聴いただいている皆様は、こちらの棒グラフでいくと、多分おそらく黒色のところに属する方々かなというふうに思っています。さらなる拡大を図っていく。すでに拠点を持っていらっしゃる企業さんはさらに拡大を図っていこう。で、海外拠点を持っていない大企業さんは、今後新たに進出していこうというふうに思われている皆様なのかなというふうに思っています。特筆すべきは右側のところかなというふうに思ってまして、海外拠点を持たない企業様において、今後やっぱり新たに進出しなければいけないという方々が、今後、1、2年では増えているという傾向が見て取れます。本日ご視聴いただいている皆様はそのような皆様かなと思うんですけど、私はどちらかというと、このグレーのところの今後も海外へ事業展開は行わない方針が 一定程度いらっしゃるっていうところに結構危機感を、持っております。で、出ていく理由みたいなところでいくと、これも言わずもがな当たり前のことかもしれませんけれども、市場規模ですとか成長性みたいなところが、最も重視されているという形になっていきます。ここの1から11にあるところ、少しですね、国別にブレイクダウンしていくと、このような形になります。で、今回ご紹介する、ベトナムを、事業拡大先とする、主な理由といったところで、挙げさせていただいてます。出典ですね、ジェトロのアンケート調査から引っ張ってきておりますけれども、一番上のところは市場規模成長性、オレンジのハイライトしている丸1番のところですね。これは言わずもがななんですけども、面白いところは、この、2、3に、2番、3番ぐらいに当たってくるところって各国で違ってくるっていうところが結構面白いところだったりしてます。で、ベトナム、緑色のところですね、左から2番目のところは、2つ目の理由として、すでに自社の拠点があるよ、なんていったところが挙げられています。で、その3番目の理由としてくるところが人件費の安さ、豊富な労働力っていうところでございます。これ、例えばなんですけども、この7番の、人件費の安さ、豊富な労働力っていうところが上位に来るっていうところが、他の、各国見渡しても少ないなっていうところが見て取れるかなと思います。いい例が右隣の中国ですね。下から数えた方が早いと。もはや中国の人件費は安くないっていうところが、この表からも見て取れるかなというふうに思います。で、一定程度低賃金の、で、豊富な労働力っていうところが、ベトナムへの、市場選択といったところは投資しているのかなというふうに思っております。少しですね、もう少し外観見ていくと、人口と GDP、ちょっと分かりやすいところなので見ていきます。だいたいベトナムの人口が9819万人。インドネシア、日本と比べたところが、そのような形ですので、少子高齢化の日本で、ベトナムが後ほどのスライドで出てきますけども、若者が多いというところから、人口ボリューム的には日本に迫っていくだろうというようなところが見て取れます。GDP ですけれども、4330億ドルを得て、上昇基調になっているよというところが見て取れます。右の図でいくと、緑のところですかね。未曾有ながらも増えていっているみたいなところが見て取れるかなと思います。で、もう少し見ると、冒頭申し上げたような少子高齢化、左のグラフですけれども、日本は80代、70代っていうところが高くて、ベトナム、インドネシアっていうところでいくと、若年層が人口の多勢を占めているといったような形でございます。ですので、このような市場感といったところ、右側は参考程度ですけども、日本語学習者の多さみたいなところからも真に示度も伺えるかなと思います。こういった人口構成とか、日本への親日度みたいなところを背景としながら、ベトナムへの市場、進出といったところは進んでいるような形でございます。一つだけ例を挙げてですね、ビビアンさんの方におつなぎしたいというふうに思いますが、日本の小売業のベトナムへの参入というところです。2009年、ファミリーマートの進出。で、2014年で、イオンさんのショッピングモール、大きなショッピングモールの開業。17年、セブンさんの進出。20年、この中になりたてぐらいですね。無印良品さんの、ベトナムへの進出といったところが見て取れます。で、各1号店を作っているのが、ホーチミン市というところになります。ベトナムの首都はと言われたら皆さんご存知ですかね。そうですね。ハノイというところです。歴史的背景だったり文化的背景があって、この必ずしも首都と、一番栄えている都市が一致しないっていうところがあるかなと思います。オーストラリアのシドニーしかりみたいな、そんなところですね。で、各、小売業も、まずホーチミンに出すっていうところが、見て取れるかなというふうに思います。ここ、結構ですね、各社出てるからっていう形でいくと、それはそれまでなんですけれども、結構首都と、政治的なところだったりとか、あとはその人口密度的なところも、新たに市場参入、海外に拠点を構えるみたいなところでは、注視していくべきポイントかなというふうに思っております。 はい、それではここからビビアンさんのセクションに移っていきたいというふうに思いますので、少々お待ちください。
Thank you, Hanita.
はい。じゃあ、ビビアンさ
Hello.
んよろしくお願いいたします。
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. And most importantly, thank you for understanding I'm presenting this in English. I hope the translations work well. So Vietnam is Southeast Asia's sixth most significant market and boasts one of the world's fastest growing economies, as Hanita just shared with you. Its strategic business location and skilled workforce make it an exciting place to start a business, especially in retail. And today I'm going to just share some key insights about the market and the opportunities, and a more detailed version of the presentation can be available after we finish the webinar. Next. Like other Southeast Asia markets, the population dynamic is changing. The middle class is growing significantly. It's currently 13%, but is forecast to be 26% by 2026 and higher again by 2030. 30% of the population are categorised as young, aged between the age of 18 and 39. And 40% of the population was categorised as urban in 2024 and is forecast to reach 50% by 2030. This shift is a focus for retailers, both from a consumer perspective as well as the location for their investment. And a fun fact, they are the second largest coffee producer globally after Brazil. Next. Vietnam are currently the fourth largest economy in the ASEAN region. And according to the IMF, the country is outpacing its regional peers, such as China, Indonesia, and Thailand. And this positions Vietnam not only as a regional leader, but as a standout performer globally. The economy grew by 7% in 2024, which exceeded the government's forecast. And whilst inflation has been rising slowly, it isn't seen as a concern. GDP is projected to grow by 6% this year to USD $500 billion. And the GDP per capita is expected to rise from $3,000 US in 2021 to almost $5,000 US this year, which is a leap of 32%. And by 2030, the forecast is that Vietnam will advance to sit in the top 30 global economies with a modern industrial base. Next. From a foreign direct investment perspective, there are four key factors for the growth. Vietnam's strategic location, specifically their proximity to global supply chains and major markets, low labour and operational costs, which makes them competitive, government incentives for foreign investment, including tax breaks, and the strong trade agreements they have with many countries across the globe. From a domestic growth perspective, rising urbanisation and consumer class, they're investing in infrastructure to boost connectivity, including new airports, highways, and public transports, and the expanding digital economy, including e-commerce, which is boosting productivity. Next. In this first section, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Vietnam's retail sector. Next. Like other Southeast Asia markets, the retail sector is growing and full of potential. It contributes 59% of the total GDP with an annual growth rate of 12%, and it is estimated to be USD $309 billion this year. And family consumption makes up 70 to 80% of that GDP, which is quite high. Next. Like other Asia markets, the retail sector is a complex interplay of traditional and modern trades, plus the rapidly growing e-commerce channel. General trade, which is grocery stores, market stalls, street vendors, accounts for approximately 55 to 75% of the revenue. and 75% of that revenue comes from the FMCG category. Modern trade, which is hypermarkets, mini-marts, convenience stores, and chain stores, currently accounts for a relatively small portion, it's about 15%, but it is growing rapidly. And then HoReCa, where consumers can eat, drink, and be served on site. And the fourth is e-commerce, which currently accounts for approximately 10% of the revenue, but as I touched on, it is growing rapidly. And approximately 80% of that e-commerce revenue is coming from online marketplaces. Next. There is a significant transformation in the retail market due to those changing consumer patterns and technology. There's the rising consumer demand, and in Vietnam, private consumption is the second highest across the Southeast Asia region. Urbanisation and growth that I've touched on. There's a rising demand for convenience products, specifically food, mainly processed and ready-to-eat options. There's the ongoing growth in e-commerce, and despite the surge in online retail, physical retail channels still remain dominant in Vietnam. Hypermarkets and supermarkets are becoming more widespread, and many of the large retailers like Aeon have made a commitment to continue to invest regionally. Next. The retail landscape in Vietnam is witnessing dynamic shifts with the entry and expansion of major international brands. Central Retail have been operating in Vietnam since 2012 and have experienced steady growth, and they are poised to double their presence in Vietnam. Following its exit from China, Lotte have strategically expanded in Vietnam, and they are making significant investment in not only shopping complexes, but also residential projects. And Aeon, where Vietnam is the second most important market after Japan in Aeon's investment strategy. They aim to capitalise on the forecast retail growth by expanding their business nationwide, with a focus on expanding into the regional towns, where again that demographic is changing and the consumer spending is increasing. And that's a really great point to note that in addition to their significant retail presence, Aeon have been recognised as one of the best companies to work for in Asia. They've placed a strong emphasis on people and building the business in Vietnam, along with a strong emphasis on sustainable development. Next. Whilst there is an enormous opportunity, there are some challenges for retailers wanting to enter the market. Competition is intense from both domestic and international players. The complexity and cost of logistics are significant hurdles, and ensuring efficient and timely delivery, especially in the country's remote areas, remains challenging. Navigating the legal and regulatory framework can be tough for businesses. There are various regulations and compliance requirements that retailers need to adhere to. And the adaptation for technology where integrating advanced technologies into retail operations can be challenging, especially for smaller retailers who may lack the necessary resources and expertise. Next. An important change that was formalised early this year in January, was the dropping of the ENT for those countries in the CPTPP. And what is ENT? In its simplest terms, it was a trade barrier put in place by the Vietnamese government. And there are 10 countries affected by this change, including Japan. And it is important to note that the ENT is still in place for those countries outside of the CPTPP group, but that won't be for long. And what does that mean? Countries like retailers from markets like the UK, United Kingdom, that currently still can't enter the market, at some stage in the future will be able to enter the market. And the government made this change as they realised that exposure to more international retailers will help modernise the sector, create jobs, and increase consumer choice, which they see as a positive. So what does that mean? Where it's been challenging to enter the market, it can now become a reality. And no doubt this change will impact the existing and particularly local mall operators whose properties have been accepted from the rule. So we'll see this year what this change means and how that affects those retailers that may have been unable to enter the market previously. Next. I've touched on the significant demographic change and the penetration of digital technologies, and they are likely to reinforce the diversity of the Vietnam consumer market. To thrive in the market, companies will have to consider trends that reflect the country's evolving socio-economic realities and those that will influence consumption. Households are getting smaller, which may lead to new types of demands. The expansion of relatively well-off seniors is likely to have a significant impact on sectors like healthcare, high-quality nursing, and assisted living. Rapid digitisation is changing the daily channels and communication methods used by Vietnamese people, particularly in e-commerce. Women's economic empowerment presents a large opportunity and may lead to new types of demands, including smaller homes, increased ownership of pets, and new forms of entertainment, and the rise of the small city and suburban consumers, as I touched on before. Next. International FMCG brands generally perform well in Vietnam and benefit from their established reputations and extensive distribution networks. However, local brands also hold a strong position in the market, often leveraging their deep understanding of local consumer preferences and cost advantages. For the FMCG market, the share is quite competitive. Approximately 55% is local and 45% is international. International brands like Unilever, Ajinomoto, and Suntory have a significant presence already. And local brands such as Vina Milk and Masan Consumer are also very competitive. They often have better insights into local consumer preferences and can adapt quickly to market changes. And I'll talk a little bit to this in future slides. Next. The FMCG sector is highly competitive with both domestic and international players. Daily essentials have the highest value, which is common across many of the Asia markets. Personal care, home care and beverages have been the FMCG categories with the highest value growth rate in recent years. The country's rising middle class, higher income levels, and shifting consumer preferences are the main contributors to the expansion of the FMCG sector. There is also increased accessibility with growing numbers of modern retail channels such as supermarkets, hypermarkets, and convenience stores across the country. Next. But there are growth opportunities in a number of product categories. With an increase in working women and hectic daily routines, there's a shift from traditional home-cooked meals to time-efficient alternatives like ready-to-eat meals, which is driving demand for convenient food. They look at it as nutritionally rich convenience. There's a rising demand for organic food, dietary supplements, and natural remedies, and the shifting preference towards preventative healthcare measures has seen the health and wellness category grow. In fact, it is forecast to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 4.68% from 2024 to 2032. Consumers are increasingly embracing natural and organic beauty products. Younger consumers are gravitating towards brands that embody authenticity and sustainability. The beauty personal care market is also projected to grow at an annual rate of 8.79% from 2025 to 2029, reaching a market value of about US $1.7 billion by 2029. And consumers are increasingly prioritising health and sustainability. Functional beverages, organic and natural foods, plant-based milk, cold-pressed juices, and low-sugar drinks are all experiencing growth. And I think this is a trend that we're seeing in other markets across the globe. But I think markets like Vietnam are really catching up, I think, on those trends. Next. Now I'm going to focus on why Japanese companies are having success in Vietnam. Next. Japan is a significant investor in Vietnam with major investments in infrastructure, manufacturing, and technology sectors. The trade relationship is robust. In fact, Japan is one of Vietnam's largest trading partners. Vietnamese workers are contributing to Japan's labour market, especially in industries facing workforce shortages. Japan also provides significant development assistance to Vietnam, supporting key infrastructure projects, education, and healthcare initiatives. And there is active cooperation in the green energy sector, focusing on several key areas like hydrogen and renewable energy solutions, helping Vietnam move towards its goal of carbon neutrality by 2050. Next. Japan's strong diplomatic and economic relationship with Vietnam has facilitated smoother market entry for its retailers. The shift in consumer demand plays directly into the strengths of Japanese products, which are known for their reliability, safety, and high quality standards. The growth of e-commerce and the strong preference for Japanese products among Vietnamese consumers all contribute to a promising business landscape for Japanese brands in Vietnam. And by leveraging innovative marketing strategies, establishing local partnerships, and adapting to consumer preferences, Japanese retailers can continue to thrive in this dynamic market. Next. There are both opportunities and challenges for the Japanese companies entering the Vietnam market. From an opportunity perspective, I've talked at length about the shift in the population dynamic and the changing consumer preferences. And from a challenges perspective, the key ones are high competition, distribution network, and the digital transformation. I would flag economic factors as a risk rather than a challenge, especially with the new Trump administration. Vietnam have a significant trade arrangement with the US, and I think are waiting, like everyone else, around the potential impact of any tariffs that are imposed on those exports. Despite these challenges, Japanese brands can leverage their reputation for quality and reliability to succeed in the Vietnamese market. Next. In fact, on Shopee, the search keywords for brands from Japan accounted for approximately 17%. And according to analysis by the research firm Q&Me, the origin of a product is one of the most important factors when making a purchase. Products labelled Made in Japan are one of the top 2 origins prioritised by consumers. And in a survey among younger customers, 58% of respondents preferred Japanese cars and electronics, while 22% showed interest in Japanese fashion. The retail consumer market in Vietnam is predicted to grow strongly in the upcoming years and is expected to become a fertile ground for foreign brands, particularly Japanese brands. Some of the Japanese brands like Ace Cook, Ajinomoto, Doggyman, and Otsuka have already leveraged this potential and continue to invest. And I will share a case study on the Otsuka product, Pocari Sweat, shortly. Next. In 2022, there was some research done that said that about 55% of all Japanese companies plan to increase their operations in Vietnam, which was the highest percentage in Southeast Asia. As I mentioned earlier, Aeon have said that Vietnam is their second most important market after Japan, and they continue to invest strongly. Fujima, in partnership with the BRG Group, plan to expand from 5 to 50 stores by 2028. And Sakuko aims to double its number of stores this year. They are exclusively importing 100% of Japanese products, including health supplements, cosmetics, and baby care items, catering to the higher-end consumer. And their goal is to become a bridge to help Vietnamese people purchase and use high-quality Japanese products at reasonable prices. Next. There is already a diverse range of Japanese consumer goods available in Vietnam, with many well-known brands, spanning electronics, auto and motorcycles, fashion and apparel, food products, and household goods. Next. Japanese FMCG brands are increasingly choosing to manufacture locally, but some brands like Kikkoman plan to continue to import. And there are benefits of manufacturing locally. There are cost efficiencies around transportation and import costs and supply chain stability. There is access to a skilled labour force, especially in manufacturing, which is advantageous for maintaining high quality production standards. And there are government incentives, such as subsidies and tax breaks. Also, being local allows brands to respond quickly to market demands and trends, better alignment with local preferences and tastes, and this agility is crucial in the fast-paced FMCG sector, where there is a lot of competition. In many cases, the ability to manufacture locally successfully and profitably is linked to the establishment of partnerships with local Vietnamese businesses, like those with strong, already established manufacturing capabilities and sales and distribution. And I'll talk a little bit about a partnership between Takasago and a local FMCG company and the benefits of that in one of the case studies. Next. Consumer electronics like televisions, cameras, and gaming consoles are mostly imported, and that is primarily due to the brand reliability and quality and cost considerations. While some components are manufactured within Vietnam, the finished product is typically imported from Japan. These products don't require local adaptation like FMCG products, which means there are cost efficiencies in manufacturing centrally and importing and distributing. But there is also a consideration around the size of the business and the size of opportunity in terms of deciding on import versus manufacturing locally. Next. And for fashion and household brands, there is a hybrid approach. Some brands are choosing to import where they're known for their high quality and their unique designs and strict manufacturing standards. But for brands like Uniqlo that were looking for scale and localization, they have taken a decision to manufacture locally, and in fact are also not just manufacturing for the local Vietnamese market, but are also exporting from Vietnam into other Southeast Asia markets. Some of the smaller, more niche brands are importing, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Setting up local manufacturing requires substantial investment in infrastructure and training and the workforce, and that may not be justifiable for smaller scale operations, and the cost of goods can become uncompetitive. Importing ensures that the product standards are maintained, and the Vietnamese market values the prestige of imported Japanese products. There can be a perception that a product that is imported is of a higher quality, and then they can justify paying a premium or a higher price for that product. Next. The opportunities for Japanese products are vast, and by continuing to expand the presence, adapt to local market conditions, and leverage trade agreements, Japanese retailers can further solidify their position in Vietnam's retail landscape. The rising awareness of health and wellness in Vietnam offers significant potential for Japanese products. Whilst physical stores remain important, there is a growing trend towards online shopping, and that will give a new avenue for Japanese retailers to reach a wider audience. Major players like Aeon have already introduced online shopping options, allowing Vietnamese consumers to purchase Japanese products from the comfort of their homes. Another opportunity lies in the localization of Japanese products for the Vietnamese market. Whilst maintaining the Japanese identity of their brands, many retailers and brands have adapted their product offerings to suit local tastes and preferences. And as an example, Aeon has localized its food products by offering Vietnamese-style dishes prepared with Japanese techniques and ingredients. And this fusion approach helps Japanese retailers appeal to a broader consumer base while still retaining the trust associated with Japanese quality. There are challenges though. Vietnam's retail market is highly competitive, with many local and international players, all offering a variety of similar products. Japanese supermarkets must compete not only with established local stores, but also with other foreign brands that may offer comparable goods at lower prices. Vietnamese consumers tend to be price sensitive, often favouring affordable products over premium offerings. And whilst Japanese goods are known for their high quality and reliability, they are usually or sometimes priced higher than locally produced or other international alternatives. And Japanese supermarkets face considerable logistical challenges in maintaining a consistent and efficient supply of imported goods. These supply chain difficulties can result in higher prices for consumers and impact the availability of goods on store, on shelves. Next. For smaller niche brands, there are a variety of channels to sell products. There are stores like Conan Japan, which specializes in home goods and Japanese lifestyle products, and others like Japanese Order Store and Koni 39, which have Japanese domestic goods. There are online platforms like Sunagu Japan, which offers a shopping proxy service that allows Vietnamese residents to purchase Japanese goods online and have them shipped to Vietnam. And there is also the option of partnering or using the services of importers and distributors. And there are already companies in place like Nakayama Foods, which imports a variety of food products from Japan, including seafood, vegetables, sauces, and beverages. So other avenues other than setting up a business locally or immediately entering the retail environment, these are alternative channels that can be used to launch your brands into the Vietnam market. Next. Now that you understand more about the Vietnam retail market and size of the opportunity, I just wanted to share a couple of case studies highlighting how Japanese brands have been successful. And we're going to start with Pocari Sweat. Next. Otsuka was established in Vietnam in 2012, and they've established a partnership with Vietnam's largest FMCG company, Tan Hiep Pat. Otsuka Vietnam's business is very diverse. They aren't only manufacturing beverages, they are also importing and distributing healthy products. They're acting as a wholesale trader, and they are also importing and distributing other functional drinks from Otsuka's factory in Indonesia. They have invested in a new factory, which is expected to start operations early this year and will further enhance their production capabilities. And their plan is not only to produce for the local Vietnam market, but they are going to export to other Southeast Asia markets, including Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. Pocari Sweat is the most well-known product. Next. Pocari Sweat is a popular sports drink in Vietnam and has gained a strong following among consumers due to its refreshing taste and health benefits. It is one of the 3 major non-alcoholic brands in Vietnam and is ranked second in the market. And one of the key reasons that they've chosen to manufacture locally outside all of the benefits that I've already talked to is that they can ensure a steady supply and freshness of the product. Next. Otsuka moved into the Vietnam market for several strategic reasons. They were better able to meet the rising demand and ensure a steady supply. Manufacturing locally reduced costs and led to more competitive pricing and possibly even a higher profit margin. By establishing local manufacturing, they were able to expand their presence in not only Vietnam but across Asia. And it also demonstrated their commitment to the Vietnamese market, and it contributes to the local economy by creating jobs and fostering economic growth in the region. Next. They will continue to focus on promoting health and wellness through their diverse range of products, including nutritional supplements and cosmetics. They aim to contribute to the well-being of consumers by providing high-quality, healthy products. And they aim to grow Pocari Sweat into a 100 billion yen brand by further enhancing its brand strengths, including expansion across Southeast Asia. They are also committed to sustainable practices and have pioneered the development of lightweight PET bottle containers for the Pocari Sweat product and other beverages that they produce. Next. I'm now going to talk a little to Takasago, which is a very different case study. Next. Whilst Takasago entered Vietnam in 1994, they launched the local subsidiary in 2024, only last year. And like Atsuka, they have partnered with Tan Hiet Pat. And THP produces and sells a variety of beverages, including herbal teas, green teas, energy drinks, sports drinks, soy milk, and purified water. They are actually supplying to all 63 Vietnam provinces and exporting to 16 other countries. So a significant business in the Vietnam market and across Asia. What did Takasago bring to the partnership? They brought their expertise in flavours and fragrances, and they have worked closely with THP on market research and trend analysis. And this partnership saw success with the development of the product 0 Degree Green Tea. Next. 0 Degree Green Tea was launched in 2006, and it is the market leader in the ready-to-drink green tea category. It exceeded its 12-month sales target within just 2 months of launching, and with its distinct natural flavour from the renowned Thai Nguyen tea leaves, the product set the stage for the growing trend of health-oriented, naturally sourced beverages. Takasago played an integral role in the early stages of product development, collaborating to create the distinct and high-quality tea. Next. Why did they choose Vietnam? It was one of the fastest growing economies in the world. They saw the growing demand for health-oriented and eco-friendly products, an opportunity to tap into the country's growing market for flavours and fragrances, and they had access to rich natural resources, including herbs and spices, providing them access to high-quality raw materials essential for their products. Next. The partnership played a key role in ensuring the stable supply of raw materials, and it has been a significant success. They're now focused on developing innovative flavours together to create more successful products that cater to the demands of the global consumers. A company representative from Takasago said the success comes from the cooperation with the THP group. Green tea products had a spectacular breakthrough, quickly becoming the leading product in the healthy bottled green ready-to-drink market. Next. And I just wanted to share short case studies for 3 other successful Japanese brands that have launched in the Vietnam market. KO, which is in the beauty and personal care category, has established a strong local presence in Vietnam, offering a wide range of products, including skincare, hair care, and household items. They are a significant player in the Vietnamese beauty and personal care market. However, there is stiff competition from other foreign brands. In fact, 90% of the beauty and personal care category is consumed by foreign brands. 17% of that 90% is Japanese brands. Genki Sushi are opening restaurants in Vietnam and Texas as part of its long-term growth strategy. Why? Because Vietnam is witnessing a surge in international restaurant brands, and diners are seeking unique and new dining experiences. Vietnamese consumers have increasingly favoured Japanese cuisine, especially sushi. And Genki are focused on offering localised menu items to cater to the local tastes. They've plans for 1 store in Vietnam this year, with further 4 locations by 2027. And Doggy Man, who have been operating in Vietnam for over 15 years. They also have a strong established presence in the market, offering a wide range of pet products such as treats, toys, and accessories. The brand has built a strong reputation for quality and reliability, which resonates well with Vietnamese consumers. They are increasingly favouring imported products due to their high quality and superior nutritional value. The domestic market still lacks those high-end products, creating great opportunities for import businesses to penetrate and expand. And the pet market is also growing rapidly, a compound annual growth rate of 9.4%, with increased pet ownership and a rising trend of pet humanisation. Another significant opportunity for Doggy Man and other pet care brands to expand in the Vietnam market. So now I'd like to just summarise what I have shared with you today. Just go to the next slide. Vietnamese consumers value brands and products that are affordable and high quality, and Japanese brands are known for this. The economy continues to grow ahead of other Asian markets, considered resilient due to the growing middle class, one of the highest degrees of trade integrations in the world, and an emergence as a reshoring destination for companies moving manufacturing away from China. The growth of digital marketing and e-commerce platforms present an ideal way to reach Vietnamese consumers. Understanding the local consumer behaviour and preferences is the key to differentiation and brand adoption, and this includes understanding and respecting Vietnamese culture and tradition. The strong trade agreements and government incentives for foreign investment, and I think most importantly, the success that Japanese companies, retailers and brands that have already moved into Vietnam have seen. Just to reiterate, Aeon Vietnam considers Vietnam the second most important strategic market globally, and 55% of Japanese companies have committed to ongoing investment in Vietnam. So thank you for listening to my presentation today. I hope you have gained some more understanding about the Vietnam market, specifically the retail market, and the opportunities for Japanese brands and Japanese retailers to move into Vietnam. So thank you.
リリアさん、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much for being. では、ここからはですね、お時間の、許す限り、QA セッションとさせていただきたいと思っております。先立って数問いただいておりますので、そちらをちょっと質問させていただきたいなと思います。日本語で私から質問、ビビアさんが英語で回答するという形を取りたいというふうに思っています。では、1番目でございますが、日本とベトナムのショッパーの、購買行動の違いは何かありますか？
You're asking about Japanese and Vietnamese shoppers' purchasing behavior?
Yes, shoppers' purchasing behavior between Japan and Vietnam. The difference.
Oh, between Japan and Vietnam?
Yes.
Oh, tough question. I think from what I understand, Vietnam consumers, I've touched a little on it. They're very price sensitive. They're a very commercially aware market. I think even when you do business in Vietnam, there is a lot of commercial sensitivity. So I think that would be one of the key differences. Whilst they value quality and premium brands, as I touched on, they also have this expectation of low price, and I think that's quite unique to Southeast Asia. I think also the expectation around localization and being aware of those cultural sensitivities in terms of possibly adapting brands and products to suit the Vietnamese culture, I think would be one of the key differences from what I know about both Japan and Vietnam.
Oh, thank you for the tough question. Like,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Number two, ベトナム進出における調査はどのようなリサーチ方法が主流ですか？ In English, what are the most common research methods for expanding into Vietnam?
Yeah, I think from my experience working in Vietnam as part of a global organization, I think finding local partners is essential. Local legal firms, consulting firms, accounting firms who have experience in supporting foreign companies on entering the market, who can advise on the benefit of either setting up a local business or importing and distributing, being able to help with those local regulations, local laws. So for me, I would not try to do it outside Vietnam. Again, I would find strong partners in the market. And I think I touched on in the case study, finding those local partners like Takasago and Otsuka did with THP that you can work with, who can provide you with embedded and local capabilities, which will help you get going faster. But to answer your question, local, finding those local partners is imperative and working with them.
Okay, thank you. And last question. アジア各国、sorry, Japanese, speaking Japanese.
It's all good.
Yeah. アジア各国を見て、ベトナム進出の優位性をビビアンさんの観点から教えてください。In English, what are the advantage of expanding into Vietnam from the perspective of other Asian countries?
Yeah, I think the shift in the population demographic is being seen across Southeast Asia, so that is not a differentiator. I think the young population, increasing urbanization, increasing middle class, and spending we're seeing that in all, again, Southeast Asia markets. But as I touched on, Vietnam is currently growing ahead of the other markets. And I also think that the trade agreements, the favorable trade conditions that Vietnam have with many countries is a benefit to companies trying to move in to the Vietnam market. Their government are very supportive of foreign entry, of establishing strong trade agreements. I think probably more favorable than many of the other Asia countries. I think Vietnam can see that that's how they're going to grow, by bringing in skilled workforce, by expanding their manufacturing capabilities. Another area that is growing very strongly in Vietnam is consulting. Again, many of those sort of skilled workforce areas are expanding in Vietnam. So that's, I think, for me, the big difference. The economy is growing faster. It's more resilient. And the strong trade agreements and incentives they have for foreign businesses doing business in Vietnam.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
視聴者の皆様ありがとうございました。事前にちょっといただいてた質問は以上になります。Q&A の方でも、来てないので、内容としては以上とさせていただきたいと思います。 この後、アンケートの方にお答えいただきますと、本日、ビビアンさんが、使用した資料の方をお渡しさせていただければというふうに思います。Thank you for Vivian. Like, so, it's a final finish. Is it okay?
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. では、こちらで本日のウェビナーを終了させていただきたいというふうに思います。改めて本日ご参加いただきました皆様、誠にありがとうございました。引き続き合理化マーケティングではアジアの情報発信というところも行っていきたいと思いますので、どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。本日はご視聴いただきまして誠にありがとうございました。こちらで失礼いたします。